teach yoga because I want to help as many people as possible to express themselves freely with their body. Once our body is filled with energy, doesn't matter the shape, our minds and spirit have a chance of going wild and free as it should be. I am an artist, and I teach art so that people could express truly their human experience and thought and emotion. And no, I did not study in art school. I have a finance degree. And for 6 years, I work in business. I travel, work in business with top executives of the world. I did sales for 2 years and was very good at making money. And then when I come back to Vietnam and say to everyone that I want to be an artist, people was like, this is not a good idea. But I'm here that's exactly the reason why I feel even more emboldened to be here and share with you my journey of having art, of losing art, and having it back again. In the last 1 year, this has been the routine of every single day. I wake up in the morning at 4:30 a.m. I wash my face, drink a glass of water. I come to my desk. I sit down. On my desk, there will always be an A4 white blank paper. And so I pick up the pen and I look at it. So that moment before creativity begins, for me, is sacred, is mysterious, is profound, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying because you have nothing. You have to learn how to have nothing, being utterly naked and vulnerable, and work your way to create something beautiful, and true, and meaningful. And so art, what is art? To me, art is anything that you express from your core through something. It can be a thought, it can be a feeling, something that is true and honest to your human experience. And all of this, there's one thing that is unique in us, that is our human experience, right? If that is true to that unique human experience, and if it is expressed outside with a medium, can be writing, dancing, gardening, arranging flowers, painting, drawing, that is art. And so, how did it all start for me? It started in summer 1990 when I was born. And I've spent a large part of my childhood with my grandfather, who was at the time an artist. I remember the bitter smell of black ink from his paintbrush. I remember the fragrance of wood from the animal toy that he crafted for me out of a tree trunk. And I remember the voice of him reciting poetry. And that gave me a fascination with art. I made my first poem when I was 5, sitting on my bed in a heavy rain. I was making a poem about the rain and the flood, because we were living in this kind of house that whenever rain comes and flood would come in, all the water would come in the house. I wrote about the rain, the flood, and my mother's feet swollen because being so long time underwater. And I wrote about how I missed my father because he was in a long business trip. And my grandfather was immensely happy. He was so proud, he was so happy. He arranged for me to perform in front of his old poet club. So I remember me, 5 years old, being on stage, tiptoeing, holding a microphone, reading my poem. And I remember the face of the old and kind face of the audience. I remember the loud applause after that. And it just felt great. It just felt good, not because of the applause, but because of the chance for me to express what was true and unique for me. So that's 5 years old Milena. Is the most pure, happy, creative, expressive person I know. And she's always with me. And I know that in each and every one of you, there is this person, this 5 years old self that is so pure, happy, creative, expressive. Everybody, each of you here, you have that person within you. But something changed for me when I go to school. So I entered elementary school, and I never understand why I need to comment on other people's poem instead of making my own. I never understand why all the rice paddy that I draw need to look like the one on the calendar. And then my mom ended up copying from the calendar so that I can have good grade, you know. And I never understand why my music teacher would give me a slap on my cheek because I wrote the music note incorrectly. And she was a little bit uptight on her very nice outside because that was a rehearsal for a teaching demonstration. I never wrote another poem until then, when I started elementary school. And by the time when I reached 18, in my first interview, when I was asked about my weakness, I said creativity. I wrote my first poem when I was 5. So this happened to us, throughout our upbringing and education. We slowly lose our inner artist, is scared away by the judgment that we receive, by the critique that we receive, even from well-intentioned people like our parents. And by the time when we reach 18, when nobody can stop us anymore, we have learned the skill of stopping ourselves from the joy of art making. How tragic is that? We've become our own well-intentioned parents and music teachers who slap us. So, but this is wrong, for many of us, especially in this, the society here in Vietnam. Art is something that is not productive. Art is a waste of time. Art is like a luxury. Art is for retired people if they have nothing else to do. Art is for a very small amount of privileged people who were born creative. And this is wrong. This is very wrong, because I'm telling you, if you give up on art, you're giving up a big, big thing in your life. And I'm here to tell you that art and life must be inseparable. Why? Because first, if we can, instead of focusing on the artwork, the result, and look at the magic of the creative process of art making, not looking at and judging our artwork, but look at the hours and what you feel during that creative process, during that creative experience. This process do something for us. As I say to you, we work from nothing to something. This do something to us. First, it enhances our creativity. Creativity is not something you can get by reading from a book. Creativity is something that your creative muscles is strengthened as you create. So if you want to be creative at work, you gotta create something. And creativity is also a zone that we enter, and the more that we create, the more that we know how it feels to be in that creative zone, and the more we can recreate it in any other situation in life. That's first about creativity. And second is about expression. Once you've learned to express yourself on the blank page with the guitar, with your flower, you kind of be more bold and be more courageous and be more true and honest to express in all other aspects of your life, whether it is in your family dinner or whether it is bringing a new project at work, or whether it is giving up the work that you hate and follow the job that you dreamed about. And in my case, about being a 25 years old Vietnamese woman having no art background, want to be an artist, and I opened my own art studio and having a career that my parents never understand. And last, but I think most importantly, the process of making art can teach us how to live. There are plenty of experience in life, and the other TED speakers have shown me how beautiful life is, and how many of the experience life can have. So, the death of a loved one, the loss of a daughter, heartbroken, a broken relationship, all the experience come to us, of course, together with joy and happiness. But sorrow and happiness always come to us, and how do we deal with them? Many people choose to numb their experience because they don't know how to deal with it. So they numb themselves by laziness or being super busyness, or by alcohol and drugs and overeating and over-shopping, all these things. But my way of dealing with it is to make art. My grandfather had been in coma for 2 months, and I could not feel it. When I come to the hospital and look at him lying on the bed with a plastic feeding tube from his right nostril straight to the stomach, and look at his degraded body and hear the sound, the dry air that coming from his collapsed lung out through his broken bronchi, out of his open mouth, I could not feel it. I don't know how to deal with this experience. And only when one night I decided I want to write about it. So I pick up my pen, I come back to the page, and I write. I write about my grandfather. I write what I saw, what I hear, what I see. And only then I could cry like I'm crying now today. Only then I can cry. And so, a writer that I respect very much, Natalie Goldberg. She's an American writer, and she wrote that, you know how pearl was created? So the oyster, when there's a disturbance get inside it, like a small grain of sand, it will release its substance in order to cover it, and then it become a pearl. And to me, that's such a beautiful representation of art. Art can be created out of disturbance. And because life is art, every single one of us must be an artist. And every single one of us can learn to become an oyster, creating something beautiful out of all the experience. Doesn't matter how sorrowful or how happy it can be. Be an oyster. Make art. To me, art making is the festival of the mind. To be art making is making love with life. Thank you.